Hello, favorite humans. Welcome to tonight, or whenever you're watching this. Feel welcome. As usual, I'm Michael Taft, I think, at least partially. And I am here to lead some guided meditation for you, courtesy of the San Francisco Dharma Collective, who always sponsors these meditations. So welcome. I'm noticing that the caffeine is just starting to really hit the system, so that's a nice feeling. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about levitation tonight via caffeine. Can do some levitation practice, and it's not coffee in my case. It is just black tea, but English breakfast tea can be quite intense for those of us with the fast caffeine processing gene, which 23andMe assures me I have, and it sure seems like it. So the other thing I'm really, really excited about is my new t-shirt. So I have to show this to you all. Check that out. I just love this thing. Embrace the existential dread, right? That is wonderful. I feel good every minute I'm wearing this t-shirt. Just feeling the embrasure of the existential dread. So keep that in mind. Notice the cat here. You might not be able to read the whole thing, but for the rest of the night. But that is that is making me extremely happy to wear. So at least one person is finding joy out of this shirt. Anyway, human beings, alien beings, cat beings, other beings, we are going to meditate together tonight, as usual. And so I want to talk, let's just start the meditation. Let's see what time is it. Yeah, we're 2 minutes in. So we are going to begin right now. And I want to begin by teaching you more about how to begin. And so I'll talk about this in two different ways. One way is kind of traditional Buddhism, and I'll be kind of annotating that with the way you can do it if you don't feel traditional. But the thing we want to start out with always, always, always is sitting down with a purpose, sitting down and meditating for a reason. And I know that it's very popular right now to say, oh, you should sit down and meditate for no reason. You shouldn't have a goal. Goals get in the way, et cetera, et cetera. But we're going to do it anyway. And I think it is both incredibly traditional to have a goal, but also incredibly helpful. Otherwise, why are you sitting at all? Go do something else. Go watch Netflix. It's much, easier. So it's really, really important to set or reflect or remember your intention when you begin your meditation. And if you're meditating with me, then your intention, at least the place I'm always guiding you, is not towards just relaxation. It's not just towards like feeling better, although that's a side effect. We're always meditating for awakening, awakening, awakening. You are meditating to awaken. And then once you awaken, to awaken deeper and deeper and deeper, right? That's the intention. And we're doing that for our own benefit. It's going to make you feel better. And we're doing it for the benefit of everyone else because you're going to be less of a jerk. You're going to be nicer to all the humans and animals and aliens and insects and everything around you. You're just going to be nicer. And it turns out being a better person is incredibly important. It's not just nice to be nice, it's crucial. And so that's why we're meditating. And I want you to remember that when you sit down. So right now, think about that. I'm meditating for awakening. The purpose of the awakening is to feel better each day and also to help others to feel better, right? That's what we're here for. And we are lucky because we already have full awakening as the basis of our minds. This full awakening that is the basis of your mind does not need to be developed. It does not need to be improved. It is complete, total Buddhahood already there from the day you're born. It's simply, if you're not feeling like a fully awakened Buddha right now, it's because there's the obscurations, the stuff that you're thinking about and worrying about, and all the kind of confusion of life kind of forms like a cowl or a covering or a blanket that obscures the Buddhahood. But we're not meditating to somehow improve the Buddhahood. That's impossible. It's already there. So we're not creating it and we're not improving it. It's already there. All we're doing is removing that blanket that's covering it. And you can do that instantly if you're good at this, or you can do it over years and years and years of slowly uncovering it, which is basically, for most people, the way it happens. But guess what? It happens. And you will notice that that light or that clarity of the Buddhahood starts to shine through more and more clearly the more you practice. So I want you to bring up this purpose, this intention, and I want you to, you can do this a couple ways. You can just connect with your own understanding that you already have full Buddhahood there inside, so to speak, inside you. Or for many people, you can just kind of think about the Buddha, or think about Avalokiteshvara, or think about Green Tara, or some enlightened figure, or even a saint, or some kind of, maybe to you, Pikachu is an enlightened figure. I don't know, but bring up an enlightened figure and just understand that that fully awakened mind, that fully illuminated, compassionate mind of clarity, wisdom, openness, connection, and so on, that you think of that being as having, just understanding that you already have that as well. And I'm talking in kind of a dualistic way, but that's how we're going to talk about it right now. So think about your intention for sitting here and understanding that the reason you can even do it is because it's already present. And in our sitting, we're just revealing our already awakened Buddhahood. Okay? So awareness is already aware. Awareness is already completely aware. You don't need to make it more aware. You just need to kind of clear away the habits of mind that are getting in the way. So setting this intention for your meditation matters. Otherwise, so often we're just kind of meditating because it's sort of a good thing to do. Or, we've been so warned away from ever having a goal that we kind of forget what we're even doing. So I'll just state it in really dualistic, goal-oriented terms and say, we're sitting to get awakened and to help everyone else get awakened. We're sitting to relieve our own suffering and to relieve everybody else's suffering. That is the bodhisattva ideal. That's what we're doing here. And this thing that we just are doing right now is called rousing bodhicitta, right? We're connecting with our purpose and with our already existing awakened mind. So let's just take, let's say, 2 more minutes and do this silently with yourself as clearly and as powerfully as you can. Go. Excellent. So the purpose here is to, remember your intention and to raise your confidence, right? We sit with confidence. We sit with a kind of determination, and this is very important. Now, of course, we can use this to beat ourselves up. Don't do that. We can use this to get kind of overly graspy about where we're trying to go. Don't do that. But this is the antidote for just drifting in meditation and feeling all inadequate or unable. Always remember, not in some theoretical way. You are a Buddha. Sit and reveal your Buddha nature. It will happen. Okay, so always remember that. Good. Now that we have roused bodhicitta, remember bodhicitta means the mind of awakening, the heart of awakening. And this is in fact the heart of the practice, right? We're remembering why the fuck we're doing this at all. This lends a different quality to our practice. Each time you realize, each time you practice, you're going deeper, you're revealing more, you're learning more, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. It's always contributing to deepening our awakening and contributing to helping others. Super important. Okay, now begin your concentration on breathing. So we want to make it easy to concentrate on breathing. So follow the breath, feel it coming in the nose, going down the windpipe, expanding the rib cage, lowering the diaphragm, filling the belly, all the way down, 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 even into the pelvic region, and then reversing, feel it, the belly contracting, the diaphragm moving upwards, the rib cage collapsing a little bit, the wind moving out of the trachea and coming out of the nose. And you don't have to feel it point by point by point by point, although you can do that. I want you to feel it gradually just coming in, meaning continuously along the whole pathway. So feel the whole path of that in-breath, and then feel the whole path of the out-breath. And if you're having a lot of thought activity, you can also say to yourself as you're breathing in, And say to yourself as you're breathing out, breathing out. So you're just breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And you're following the sensation in your body of the breath all the way in, all the way down to the bottom, and all the way out back out the nose. So let's begin meditating like that. And as you do that, I will in the background be guiding a relaxation. So this is just helping you to become more relaxed. Your real concentration is on the breath. Okay? So make sure that your forehead and eyebrows and scalp are released and relaxed and let go. And allow your eye muscles to relax, your eyelids to become tension free and soft and open, your cheeks and lips and around your mouth relaxes, becomes soft. All tension drains from your jaw, and you can feel it just relaxing and opening so that your upper and lower teeth are not touching. There's no clenching going on. And already, this just minimum relaxing of your face already feels a lot better. And you notice that you can kind of begin to settle in a little more completely. Good. Next, allow your throat and neck and shoulders to release and relax and let go. Your shoulders kind of rotate down and back. Your throat relaxes in a way that if you were speaking, your voice would deepen. And you just notice a kind of relief spreading through the shoulders and the neck and the throat, and now even the face and head more completely. And this sense of relief then allows all the tension to drain out of your arms, all the tension to drain out of your hands, any tension in your joints to release and relax and let go. So your arms and hands are like wet noodles. Your shoulders are relaxed, your throat and neck are relaxed, your face and head is relaxed. And notice that this sense of the upper body being relaxed just allows you to let go now and drop much more deeply into a stillness, a deep, deep stillness that is completely relaxed. It's not a tense stillness, it's a relaxed, open, easy stillness. Continuing to meditate on the breath. Feel now that stillness coming into the upper torso, your chest and your upper back, the tension draining away in the chest and upper back, and everything inside just relaxing and opening, releasing and letting go, finding ease and openness there, and noticing how good that feels. And now allowing the diaphragm to relax more and become less tense. The diaphragm easing and opening. And then finding relief in the belly and the kidney region. And noticing release and relaxation and openness in the belly and the kidney region. And just as you breathe, noticing how good that feels and feeling how with each in-breath there's awakening, there's alertness, there's a sense of brightness and clarity coming into the mind. And with each out breath, there's deepening of the relaxation. There's deepening of the letting go. There's deepening of the stillness. The in breath bringing clarity and brightness. The out breath bringing relief and ease and opening and stillness. Noticing that we're not just relaxing, we're becoming clearer and brighter and sharper. The awareness is brightening, not dimming down. We're always maintaining this balance between relaxing and alertness, between letting go and having clarity, brightness of mind. So, what can happen is if we try too hard to be clear and sharp and wrestle our attention, we can get too tight. But if we relax and let go too much, we start to get drowsy and fuzzy and sort of sleepy. And so we're always threading the needle. We're always finding the place between those two things, between bearing down and easing up. So even as I guide you in this relaxation, I want you to have this very clear sense of following the breath. And noticing how now the whole torso, the arms and hands, the neck, the throat, the face, the head, all the body feels tremendously relaxed and settles even more deeply now into bright, wakeful stillness, alert relaxation. And then it spreads to the hips and the legs and the feet so that the legs and feet become as limp as wet noodles, zero tension, all the tension drained away. And the hips and the legs and the feet just relax and open so that all the remaining tension just drains out of the entire body, so that the entire body is loose and open and feels really nice and spacious. And the mind is clear and bright, very, very, very alert in a pleasant and open manner, just following the breath. So let's just do this now silently for about 5 minutes. We're just going to follow that breath. I might chime in here now and again, but basically just silently following that breath. And notice that you have to have a clear intention of following the breath. Just really set the mind to do that. Stay with this breath sensation as it comes in the nose, down the windpipe, expanding the torso and belly, and then contracting the belly and torso up the windpipe and out the nose. Again and again, just allowing that to occur easily, effortlessly, but also with great clarity. Never worry if thoughts are coming into the mind. We don't care at all. Just give more and more attention to this movement of the breath in the body. We want to make it so that the mind is paying attention to the breath in the body more and more completely and more continuously. And we do that by paying more attention to it, not by getting concerned about thinking or paying attention to thinking or getting involved with thinking. We just don't even care about that. We are instead really paying attention to the feeling of breathing. You want it to be as deep as possible, meaning as much of your mind, not a little tiny bit of your mind, but all of your mind is paying attention to the breathing. And you want that to be continuous. So it's not intermittent, it is not moving around, but rather continuously contacting that sense of breathing. Continuously and deeply focusing on the feeling of the breath. It can help you to sharpen it by even noticing, trying to notice that exact moment where it switches from an in breath to an out breath, and the opposite, the other exact moment where it switches from an out breath to an in breath. Get completely involved with the details of breathing, that every little micro movement, every little tickle or itch or expansion or contraction of the feeling of the breath moving through the body. Give yourself completely to this. Give the mind completely to this activity. This is where intention comes in. You have the intention to stay with this activity completely. Good. Now let go of concentrating on the breath and just expand, expand, expand the attention until it's no attention at all. It's just awareness in all directions, concentrating on nothing. Or another way to put it is awareness, just aware of awareness itself, but not paying attention to content. So we're just allowing the awareness to, this Buddha like awareness, to just demonstrate its openness, demonstrate or rest in its omnidirectionality without tightening down into attention on anything. Stable awareness, just resting and open, not gathering anywhere. The core of the mind now, just as we have body relaxation, we now have the core of the mind incredibly relaxed and also very bright, right? The mind is super alert, very awake, crisp and clear, but it is not paying attention to anything. It is rather simply aware. So we're resting in this bright, radiant clarity of awareness effortlessly. It takes no effort to have radiant clarity because the Buddha mind is already there. And we just relax and allow that radiant mind to not gather upon any objects. So if you notice that the mind, because we have a habit of doing this, if the mind starts to tighten on something, relax that tightening. Remember, relaxing the tightening doesn't mean to fight with it, struggle with it, wrestle with it. It just means to relax. We don't relax tightening by tightening more, by fighting with it, by struggling with it. We simply relax. So if you notice attention is starting to gather, starting to tighten around an external sound or around a thought, just let go of that. Allow the awareness to be broad and expansive and open and easy. And this should settle into a kind of stable openness. And if it doesn't, if it keeps tightening around something, don't fight with that. Instead, back up and go back into meditating on the breath, helping the mind to stabilize by using the breath. Otherwise, just stay in this open, bright, relaxed awareness. If the mind continues to be real active with grabbing onto things, another thing you can do is just notice that each thought just crumbles and dissolves away. Each thought just, because you're not following it, you're not trying to follow it or meditate on it, but you just notice they keep crumbling into nothing. And the moment they crumble into nothing is you're back at spacious awareness. You're back at open, easy awareness. It's actually impossible to hang on to thinking. We just pretend we can do that, but really the thinking keeps vanishing over and over and over. So the mind can just relax and be open. The core of your mind is just completely relaxed. There's no tension. Sometimes you can feel the mind sort of wanting to look around, or sort of it's still moving around because it has the habit of searching and seeking. And that's okay. Just it's just not landing on anything. Never land. Just let it move in its own way, but without any direction and completely relaxed. And eventually it settles way down. Still very bright, still very clear, but settled. Each time the mind gets caught up in anything, just let go. Okay, very good. Now, what I want you to do next is to notice any mental images that happen to be in the mind. And we want to notice their emptiness. So, for example, if you have an image of the room around you, your eyes are closed and there's a mental image of the room around you, notice that that's just transient, like it's there and then it's not there. It's like a picture projected on a screen. It has no substance. So the mental image is there and then it breaks up, it transmogrifies, it vanishes. Or perhaps you're you're thinking, oh, my wrist hurts. And you notice you'll have a mental image of your wrist. But that's just a mental image, right? It's a temporary visual thought that just appears in the mind and then breaks up and vanishes. Just to state the obvious, the mental image of the room around you is not really the room around you. It's just a picture in your mind, a picture that arises in awareness and then shimmers there for a while and then vanishes. The picture of your wrist is not your actual wrist. It's just an image projected in the mind for a few moments, moving, changing, vanishing, dissolving. If there are no mental images in the mind, notice if you have an idea of, for example, the posture you're sitting in, and see if any of that is a picture of the way you're sitting. Or if you have an idea of the room around you, notice that that is partially a picture in your mind of the room around you. Or if you have a memory, notice that the memory can contain images of the thing you're remembering. Now, we're not creating these images on purpose unless there's absolutely no images there, and then in that case, it's okay to very gently allow one to arise. The important thing is that we are not trying to get rid of them either. We want to notice their emptiness. What is the emptiness of the image? The emptiness is the fact that the image comes from nowhere and goes to nowhere. The emptiness is that the image is not supported by anything. It has no basis. It's not somehow independently existing either. It is not a thing. It's just an experience. It's a mental image experience. It comes and it goes. But looking deeply into these mental images, you see that they don't have any self-existing nature. They're not somehow real things. They're just experiences that are passing. They are arising in awareness and vanishing in awareness. And in between, there's an experience of a mental image. But even that is continuously changing. Even that is not solid. And if you look closely at the mental image of your body, which is empty, you'll see that in a funny way, you mistake it for your actual body. You're saying, oh, I know my body's there. And you have this kind of subtle or not so subtle background mental image of your body being there. And you match that up with the body sensations, and that's how you, quote, know your body's there. But if you really look very, very clearly at the mental image of your body arising in awareness, you'll see it's not a thing. It is simply an empty appearance. It does not give the body any kind of non-emptiness. It's simply an empty appearance. So that the body itself is just an appearance arising in awareness. Just a flash in the pan, just a shadow on the wall. And now notice the same thing about your mental image of the world around you. In a funny way, we confuse this mental image of the world around us with the actual world around us. As long as the mental image is there of the room I'm sitting in, it's helping me to remember that there's a room there. But it's just a 3D image in your mind. It's projected outward, but it's just a dream in the mind. Notice this dreamlike quality of the mental image of the room around you, and the fact that that image doesn't define the room, it doesn't keep the room solid. The image itself is not solid. The image itself vanishes and goes away over and over again. And so your sense of the world around you based on this mental image is just vanishing over and over. And if you look past this pretend boundary, there's really no boundary at all in any direction. The mental images are empty. The mental images arise in awareness and vanish in awareness, and they do not bind or restrict or limit or control awareness in any way. Notice the emptiness of the images of the world around you. Notice the emptiness of the images of the body. And notice that these images are just appearances in awareness, like lightning in a nighttime sky. They just come and go. And they do not touch or influence or disturb the sky in any way. Mental images are impermanent. They're continuously changing, continuously coming and going. Mental images are not made of anything. And yet we seek to define ourselves and our world with them. Mental images are constructions. We build them and then deconstruct them. We unbuild them over and over again. They are built and then torn down, built and then torn down. Mental images do not restrict or define or control awareness in any way. They are, in fact, arising and passing within awareness. The fact that you think awareness is limited is just a mental image in awareness. It's a trick. Notice the emptiness of those images. They are like dreams, completely insubstantial, restricting nothing, defining nothing, empty. If you're trying to figure something out, just let go of that. If you're trying to make sense, stop doing that. Notice the mental images that arise and notice they're empty. Okay, good. Now let's end the meditation. Feel free to move and stretch. I'm going to run and get something to drink. I'll be right back, and then we'll continue with the Dharma talk from there. So just take a moment to arise from the meditation and stretch out and so on. Be right back. He's back. Okay, got something to drink here so I can actually not have a dusty throat while I'm talking. So, mental images are fascinating. I love to meditate on them. I really got a lot out of meditating on them for many years. And it's an unusual meditation object. I feel like most traditions either don't talk about them very much and don't work with them very much, or kind of work with them in a, like I'm trying to make a certain mental image way, like a visualization way. But there's a third way to work with them, which is kind of Vipassana method, which is, see what's there and notice its emptiness. So very often when we're doing these meditations, I'm talking about seeing the emptiness of thought. But usually what most people think of when they think of thought is mental talk. But everyone's got mental images going on all the time. For some people, they're more obvious, forward. Like, for example, I tend to think a lot in imagery. And for some people, they tend to not. They tend to be way back. They're harder to access. They tend to think more in words. But everyone's got them. That's how you know where the door to your room is when your eyes are closed. That's how you know how you can remember what's in your, the drawer in your desk. There's a picture in your mind of it, right? And also, and this is a subtler point, that's how you know where your body parts are. We do have, proprioception and so on, meaning you can feel your body parts, of course, but there's also a picture in your mind of where everything's at. And so whether it's very, very clear to you that mental images are there as part of thinking or not so clear, it's worth checking them out. Why? Well, a tremendous amount of how you're organizing your experience exists in mental imagery like that. And so, number one, just as part of mindfulness, just as part of good Vipassana, understanding that those are there and noticing them is really important. And I think we can presume that, since most animals aren't doing a lot of verbal communication, they might do a little, but not a lot compared to a human being. Human beings have a lot of verbal communication, so we have a lot of verbal thinking, right? But eyes evolved a long time ago, much, 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 much earlier, probably hundreds of millions of years earlier than speech. And so we can presume that animals too are doing a lot of visual thinking, right? And so, in other words, visual thinking is deeper in the mind. It's more conserved in evolution. And so it's there at lower and lower levels of the brain. It's helping us to organize experience at a deeper level. So it's one thing to see the emptiness of verbal thinking. And by the way, it's a really good thing to meditate on. We meditate on it often in this course, in this class, in these guided meditations. But working with the emptiness of visual thinking is even deeper because it starts to not only help to deconstruct and see the emptiness of the sense of self, which of course is crucial, but it goes even deeper. It sinks in even deeper into our mental construction of the world. When we see the emptiness of the mental images of the world, we're beginning to really delve in to the emptiness of the world, not just emptiness of self, but emptiness of phenomena, emptiness of the world around us, right? Remembering that emptiness does not mean it's nothing. It doesn't mean it's a void. It means that it is constructed. It's a fabrication arising in awareness. When we see emptiness of self, it means that we see that the self is just a construction arising in awareness. It's not a thing, it's essentially an idea of a thing. When we notice the constructedness of the world around us, it doesn't mean it's not there. It means that it is understood to be a construction arising in awareness. So when we notice the mental images that are helping with that construction, it's really, really powerful. We see that those are empty, and it helps us to see that self and world are empty. When we see self and world are empty, that's when we're getting into deep awakening, right? That's when we're going towards really contacting our innate Buddhahood. So that's why we're doing it. We're waking up, right? So contacting these mental images and seeing their emptiness is a tremendously important part of our journey of, we could say, journey to awakening, but really, since you're already fully awake in there, it's more like realization of our Buddhahood, right? They're a big part of it. Another really important mental image that people never notice until someone points it out, or most people don't notice anyway, and it's crucial, is the mental image you're having of your perspective. There's this thing you're doing all the time of like, okay, my watch is over here and I'm looking at it. There's me over here looking at the watch over there. And when I'm meditating, let's say I want you to meditate on your watch, even with your eyes closed, or let's say the feeling of the watch in your hand, you're doing this thing of making a mental picture of, okay, the watch is over there and I'm over here, and I'm directing attention at the feeling of the watch in my hand. You're always doing that, making a mental, we could call it like stage. You're constructing this stage where, let's say, the body sensation in my hand, it's over there, and my mind is over here. And so I'm making two spots, the thing I'm looking at and me looking at it, and then I'm projecting this sense of attention onto that. Notice that that whole setup, the object and the subject, me looking at it, and the relationship between those, that's a fucking mental image. It's a construction. It's a fabrication. It's an idea of attention. It's not doing anything except getting in the way. So being able to see that you're making that construction of me over here and the thing over there, every time you try to pay attention, seeing that is, and noticing its emptiness, notice that you're fabricating that. That is going to help you wake up. You can drop that fabrication. Awareness is already aware. Awareness is already aware. You don't need an idea of a thing over here, an idea of a viewer over here, and a relationship between the viewer and the thing being viewed in order to have awareness of the thing, or awareness of the feeling of the thing. There's some duality built into the language, the way I'm talking about it, that we can't really get around. So, but notice that you're doing that construction. This is a huge advantage of being able to work with mental images and seeing that the mental image of the stage of attention, where my arrow of attention is going, and the relationship between me and the thing and all that, that's all a mental image, and you can just drop it. Meaning not make it go away, not try to get rid of it, but just don't do it on purpose if you can avoid it. And even if it's there, because it will arise, it's just natural. Even if it's there, as part of this meditation, you can see its emptiness. See that it is constructed. It's just a dream in the mind. It's just a dream in the mind. This is how we get to non-duality, right? There's an idea of a thing over here arising in awareness, an idea of a tender over here arising in awareness, and this thing over here is supposedly looking at that thing over there in awareness, but that's not really what's going on. What's really going on is awareness, and that's it. And these fabrications are arising and pretending to look at each other in awareness, but really it's only works because awareness is aware. Do you see what I mean? When you attend to the emptiness of mental images over and over and over again, you will see this. And once you see it, you cannot ever unsee it. You will never forget it again. It's like, oh my fucking God, the whole world is just a dream in my mind. Now, you may forget it while you're doing stuff, but the minute you try to remember it, boom, it'll come back. And you'll just realize the stage of self and world is a construction in my head. It's exactly like a video game. It's exactly like a third-person shooter video game. You know, you've got, you know, the scenario, you've got the buildings, you've got the other people, you've got you. It's all happening in 3D in the video game, but it's just a construction on a screen. None of that is happening in some kind of solid way. It's a experience that is just arising in awareness. Now, of course, there's an experience happening. It's not that there's nothing. Emptiness doesn't mean there's nothing. That's called nihilism. And Buddhism is not nihilism, not nihilistic. There's an experience there, but the experience is empty of independent existence. It's just happening in awareness. And by the way, awareness is empty. So don't make awareness into the new, God you're worshiping. So that's what's interesting about these mental images. Okay, I could go on about that for a long time, but let's see what some of the questions are. I won't answer every question. Okay. What's your MCRAD? Says Motorkraftrad, MCRAD. What is your opinion of pressure in the head during spacious awareness? Sometimes very open and diffuse, sometimes seemingly more localized. Well, pressure in the head is one thing, but the feeling of pressure in the head is a body sensation, and that is empty. Notice the nebulosity, the disappearingness, the diffuseness, the constructedness of even the understanding that the pressure is anywhere at all. To think of it as being in the head, you have to have a mental image of a head, etc., etc., etc. So that's what I think about it. Christopher Lewis has loved setting the intention in the beginning. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that, Christopher. Always set the intention at the beginning of your meditation. Every single time, 100% of the meditations. It will make the meditation better. It will make it stronger. It will help you to progress more quickly. If you sit down without intention and you don't even think of what you're going to do meditation-wise and you don't remember why you're doing it, and then you sit there and you notice your mind is running all over the place, well, no shit. You have to sit down and then think about what you're doing and why you're doing it before you begin the practice. Sit down and remember, bodhicitta, remember that you are already a fully awakened Buddha and that you are meditating to reveal that awakening and to help others to become or reveal their awakening. Okay? Always, always, always. David M. says, when my eyes are shut, it seems I can see that mental images are just that. But if I open my eyes, the realness or substantiality of my room, my dog, etc., presses in on my awareness. Sure, but then we're not talking about the same kind of mental image. Then we're talking about the visual image of the room, and we work with the emptiness of that independently. Okay? It's a different sense gate, right? Instead of imagining or seeing the mental images, then the image is coming from your meat eyes, right? And of course, those are constructed as well, but that's a different meditation. And so that can be, for some people, actually easier to see the emptiness of. For most people, it's harder to see the emptiness of, but still empty. We'll work with that another time. Cure glow. There's many mental images flashing in my mind all the time. And there's an attempt for my mind to capture and hold on to them. Should I drop such attempts? Don't capture and hold on to them. Drop that. Thank you, people who are praising the meditation. Patrick says, I found for myself that a good way to drop the stage construction is to try to put my center of awareness elsewhere. For example, making the whole room the thing that is experiencing. That's a different technique. That's where we're noticing that there is no center of awareness, and it does work just the way you say. In this meditation, however, we're just noticing that stage of, the constructed mental image stage is there, and we're noticing the emptiness of it. So different techniques, both are cool. Thank you for bringing that up. Hi, Lisa. Noel Gaumont, a bit counterintuitive at first, but I found it easier to direct metta towards figures and mental images as the emptiness became more prominent. Isn't that fascinating? You'd think if we saw the figures as more real, metta would be easier. But awareness is crucial for everything. Emptiness is crucial for everything. And the more empty self and other become, they start to merge. And having metta for, quote, others, when you realize there are no others in awareness, is much, much easier. Eli, dropping into this third person resting in awareness often feels like I'm not actually experiencing life as directly. The experience is often floaty, drifty, and disconnected. Still clarity, but clarity once removed, if that makes, I think the next word you want is sense. Yeah, so floaty and drifty are good. Those are qualities of emptiness, because floaty and drifty are referring to the spaciousness. Disconnected, however, that is an error, because we're actually more connected with them. Because if they're arising in awareness and we are also arising in awareness, we are not separate at all. So actually notice the connection. Notice that there's no separation. Any sense of distance or disconnection is actually, that's a construction of space. That's that stage. So drop that. We are floaty and drifty, yes, more connected. So that disconnection thing, that's dissociation. Don't go there. Let's see here. Micah, I'm interested in the difference in focusing on mental images versus linguistic thought versus hearing, which I read as process blah, 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 blah. I don't know. We'll talk about that in brain science class another time with a brain scientist. But cool question. Final question here. Michael, that was wonderful. My question is this. I understand that the mental images and world are constructed. I see the third person video game nature of reality, but I'm still anticipating the holy shit or wow aspect of this realization. My response is, so what, or now what? If your response is sort of boredom or like next, then you aren't really getting it. You just mentally think you understand it. Or let's say partially understand it. You want to notice it even more deeply, even more completely. Because for example, who is it that wants to have this holy shit moment? If it seems like there's a person wanting to have a holy shit moment, notice the emptiness of that person. If there's someone having an expectation, notice the emptiness of the expectation, but also the emptiness of the person trying to have the expectation, right? You're not getting it deeply enough yet. Look or feel or sense, however we want to put it, the emptiness of the whole enchilada. Okay? Awesome. So that's all the questions we have time for right now. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for participating in the meditation. Working with mental images rocks. I love it. It's a fabulously powerful way to wake up even more deeply, even more completely. Keep noticing how you're trying to move the world around in your mind on a mental image stage, and just notice that construction. Again, we don't have to make it go away. We just notice its emptiness. Notice it's a fabrication that we're using to orient ourselves, but that is not strictly necessary. Now, let's switch gears and talk about dana. So these meditations are brought to you free of charge. They're brought to you by San Francisco Dharma Collective and myself, absolutely without any expectation that you are going to give anything back in any way. We are freely offering this from the goodness of our souls to the whole world. And we are happy to do that. And anything you want to give back out of the goodness of your soul, saying thank you, saying what you got out of the meditation, asking your questions, sharing it with others, that's great. And in fact, remember, share these meditations with other people, subscribe to the channel. You'll get, and when you subscribe to the channel, click the thing that says you want to, get notified when there's another meditation happening so that you get notified. If you want to participate in any way or offer anything like that, we love that. Much more deeply, that kind of interaction is part of Sangha, right? Even though we're here on YouTube, and even though you might be listening to this or watching this video years from now, it's still Sangha. We're still having an interaction. You are still, a part of this group. And then beyond that, or separately, if your personal way of feeling that sense of gratitude and that sense of giving is that you like to give monetarily, financially, then under those conditions, feel free to donate, to offer dana to San Francisco Dharma Collective on the links that Katie is putting in the live chat window. We split those donations. SFDC gets some, I get some. We would really welcome that. Donations are great. Remember that San Francisco Dharma Collective is putting out a lot of other teachers. Michael Owens and Chandra Easton and Eve Ekman and a whole plethora of other amazing teachers are available through San Francisco Dharma Collective. So Susie Keeley is another teacher. George Haas is doing some stuff. So whenever you're donating to San Francisco Dharma Collective, again, they're splitting that with me if you donate during this class. But also, you're making possible that these teachings get put out to the world, to everyone free of charge. And people are watching this from all around the world. All around the world. So you can do it through many different links, okay, that Katie is putting out there. So that's awesome. Just trying to think of what else to say here at this moment, because I always get all excited and then forget some important details. We'll be here each week on Thursday night, live Thursday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, leading these guided meditations. So go to the San Francisco Dharma Collective website if you want to see the schedule of all the other meditations. Go to my website, deconstructingyourself.com, if you want to, get my free book, The Mindful Geek, if you want to read a whole bunch of blog posts, if you want to see past videos, if you want to sign up for my email list, all that stuff's on deconstructingyourself.com. And listen, the world is crazy right now. The world has always been crazy, but it is crazy right now. So, you can get blown up by terrorists, you can get COVID, it's just, let's just all together embrace the existential dread and be safe and happy and be kind to others. Be nice to other people. Be nice to animals. Be nice to all beings, okay? It's really important. So on that note, I will say goodbye. Thank you so much for coming this evening or whenever you're watching this. It means so much to me that you actually give your precious attention to these live streams. And I will see you here next week. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.